my favorite CEOs out there in the world. We had him several times on the show already. I'm using Raven scanners for I don't know how many years. I know many in the paperless movement also use it. So I'm happy that he's with us. Paperless Movement is a not sponsored channel, but when I find a product, I'm happy to support this company and the mission and vision that we have in the Paperless Movement, that we want to leverage the digital world in the best way possible, but also having a customer-centric mindset and looking for the best ways to serve you guys. We are heavily aligned with the Raven company, so there's no reason not to show him off. Stefan Diasti in the show. Hi,
Thank you, Tom.
Stefan. Maybe you give a proper introduction.
Yeah,
compared to mine.
I mean, it really doesn't get better than that. So thank you, Tom. It's good to be back and, excited to talk with your members today and give you guys a little bit of insight into what we've been up to the last year since we last spoke and what we've got coming here in 2022. But appreciate the support. Good to be back.
So yeah, awesome. For those who don't know Raven, what is Raven all about? What is it? I mean, I mentioned Raven scanners, but there's more to it.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So Raven is really here for one purpose, and that's to help businesses, households, whoever our customers might be, go paperless and really to provide a full solution to enable our customers to go paperless. And of course, as you mentioned, Raven scanners are a part of that, no doubt, right? That's our flagship product. We pair that with other complementary solutions and products to help in that paperless journey. And that includes things like Raven Cloud or Raven Desktop. So that regardless of the product or where you're at in that paperless journey, we can help make that hopefully a little bit easier for you, giving you a solution for full document management.
Yeah. And this is awesome. And this is where I think Raven makes a better job than the competition, I would say, because you focus also heavily on the software. So I really like how the interface works and most importantly, how the integrations work. And when you say you give a full solution, this is what you have in mind, right? The end result. Where do people actually want to send this to? And how can you provide this connection in the easiest way possible? And just recently you added the desktop version. I mean, recently, it's already a year ago, right? So this was the missing piece for all the people who still want to use their laptop. But this being said, my Raven scanner is just a standalone device. It just stands there. You can set up everything through the screen. You can hook it up with your cloud through the Raven Cloud. I think you have to log into Raven, right, to set up integrations. I can't remember probably.
For third-party connections, that's right.
For the third party. Yeah, exactly. But this being said, what I also like, and you mentioned it, it doesn't matter where in the journey the person is. So if they are just getting started and don't know what tool they use, like Evernote or anything like that, they can use Raven Cloud and they can scan it there. And you provide things like OCR and a great management system of the documents. So I'm really impressed of this Raven Cloud. Maybe we dive into this first, where I can send my documents to with the Raven Cloud, and then we go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's important to know sometimes we get this question of, if I have a Raven scanner, do I have to scan to Raven Cloud? And the answer is no, you don't have to, but we certainly are happy to provide that service if you do have an interest in doing so. But as you mentioned, we also recognize, right, that we can't everything to everyone, right? There are other platforms that are already embedded into your particular ecosystem or your business. Things like Microsoft 365, right? Maybe you have OneDrive or OneNote or SharePoint embedded, or maybe you're already embedded into Evernote, or maybe you need a full, like our latest destination, you need a full financial document management and bookkeeping solution really geared towards accounting needs. We recognize that Raven Cloud can't do all of those things, right? And replace all of those systems. And so we stay agnostic to kind of where you want to scan your documents and where you want those to ultimately. And so we've made a platform that regardless of the scanner model you purchased, regardless of whether you use it as a standalone device or whether you pair that with Raven Desktop, you can quickly and easily scan to not just Raven Cloud, but also scan to any of a number of destinations managed by third party. Or if you want to set up your own email server or SMTP right on the scanner, or you can scan to fax. We make that possible just so it's a true versatile one-stop solution, right, for getting your documents into the desired destination.
Yeah. And this being said, there's a lot of flexibility available there because you're just adding integrations to lists. It's insane. So since I used the Raven scanner for the first time, I think when was it? 2019. I think it was 2019. Since then, you added DevonThink, you added OneDrive.
OneDrive, OneNote.
And even OneNote. Yeah, well, this is awesome. I know many people want to have it in there. Just recently, you added Neat. I don't know what Neat is because I'm not in US. I wasn't aware this. I don't know if it is available in Germany, but maybe you just explain how the Neat integration worked. Why did
Yeah,
you add it to the list?
absolutely. Yeah. So to answer your first question, I'm not surprised that you wouldn't be as familiar with Neat because it is a product that targets the US market exclusively today. That's really geared to US currency and the US accounting methods. So that's the reason that it's not as well known outside of the US. But Neat has been around for a long time. Previously, they also were in the document scanner hardware business with Neat Connect, Neat Desk, Neat Receipt, scanner hardware. And they did really well with those products. But they did decide strategically that they were going to exit that hardware business in 2016. And so that left still a lot of customers, right, that had their hardware and that hardware, of course, eventually reaches an end of life. And so what we were seeing was that a lot of those Neat customers were coming to Raven, right, with an interest in our hardware, and were asking for us to integrate. And as when you alluded to earlier, right, we really keep a good pulse on what our customers are saying and where we think we can add additional value to those customers. And so while Neat had a scan utility that worked for desktop, we wanted to, again, give that benefit of a seamless standalone solution that didn't require the use of a computer and could really essentially replace their old Neat hardware. And for their new customers, give them a hardware solution that was more convenient as it's the only solution that's directly integrated. And so we also recognized we would get a lot of customers that were asking for a solution geared towards financial document management and receipt and expense management. And so Neat now also, not only for their existing customers, right, but for new Raven customers that are looking for a product, we have a company that we can stand behind and recommend as a partner for them. And it's in place with all of our products today. So we're really excited about that launch that just went live within the last couple of weeks. And we've already seen a significant amount of interest and connections and traction as a result of that partnership.
Well, this is awesome because I think this is a smart move. Neat finally can focus 100% on their software, and you can focus on the hardware side again. Software-wise on your hardware, obviously, but not, it's a different game and everybody can focus on their genius zone, right? So this is great. So any plans to have more integrations or collaborations like with Neat?
Yeah, we do. In fact, we've got some in the works right now. Going into the second quarter, there will be a couple of new integrations that will become available. One of which actually is, I think it's come up within your paperless movement community a few times, and that's Clio. So Clio is a legal case management software platform used by law firms primarily. And so we're super excited to be the only scanner that's directly integrated to Clio without a computer being required. And so that will be in our next update. We'll also be adding Amazon S3 bucket support. So we recognize, right, that customers are getting more sophisticated, right, and storing their data kind of within the cloud architecture of Amazon S3 or Google. And so we're going to start with Amazon S3, and that'll be available as well. And then the last thing we'll be including here around the April timeframe will be the ability to set up multiple instances of any of those third-party destinations. So this was another direct feedback from customers where they said, hey, it'd be nice if I could set up my personal Google Drive and my business Google Drive, or my husband's and my wife's, right? And have both of those connections managed independently on a single login. And so we did add support within the last couple of months to be able to quickly switch users without having to log in and out. However, this will allow you within a single user profile to add multiple of the same destination. So we're super excited about that.
Oh, this is exciting. Yeah, I think that this brings you ahead of the game when it comes to the Raven, the document scanners in general, just due to these integrations. Mentioning also Amazon Cloud and so on. This is really, yeah, you mentioned sophisticated users. This is also targeting big corporates. I mean, it just makes sense. But what I don't understand right now, let's say I have a CRM and I want to send it there to a specific user. So I attach it to a specific user. Is this a way, or how does it work when I send it to, I mean, neat. You said it's an accounting software. So I would expect that I can handle this in there. I mean, I can target it to specific accounts or anything like that. So is this anything that I set up or I can choose on the Raven where it should be sent to? Or
Yeah, so just the interface today where you can scan to one or many destinations, all of these will just show up in your destination list. So you'll see, for example, if you've set up 2 Google Drive accounts, you would see Google Drive for Stefan at Gmail, and then you may see Google Drive for Stefan at Raven.com. And so you would just choose that respect destination and you would manage folders within each of those independently. So it really behaves just like its own unique account setup or destination option. That way you're not having to kind of overcomplicate that within a single view.
yeah. So you're sending it to specific folders. This is what I wanted to get to. So the question is now, and I actually had another very interesting talk to Noted with NOTUD that we will have on the show very soon as well, which they have a great solution. It's a handwriting note-taking application, browser-based, and it integrates with Xero and with Zapier. So you can actually automatically attach this to the related people items in the CRM. And this is what I was going for. So would it be possible that I can hook up a CRM and then search for the related person that I was talking to as a salesperson, taking notes on my paper and just scan it in and it goes directly attached to this item? Because sending it directly to a folder means I need further to process it.
Right. Yeah, we are currently working on a Zapier integration. And so that will allow our customers, again, we want to scale this, right, for Raven and for customers. And we recognize that Zapier is already integrated with hundreds or thousands, right, of services. And so if we can offer kind of a single point integration to allow you then to route those documents as needed to various places or to get alerts or other types of triggers, then that's a win for everyone. So we are working right now on a Zapier integration. That'll come later this year. We're also working on auto tagging capability that will automatically apply document tags based on you can set up rules and logic of what would kind of trigger those. And so that starts to kind of get towards some of what you're describing of auto categorizing or metadata attaching, right? Exactly. So it'll be a combination of those features and integrations with Zapier that would then allow you to do things like route those into a CRM. However, there's a very good chance, right, that we'll integrate with CRM platforms like Salesforce or others in the future as well.
So this is going the right direction. Absolutely. So when I talked about this, I had in mind another tool in particular called Filterize that integrates with Evernote, where I was able to send my notes through the Raven scanner to Evernote. It's already OCR'd, and Filterize is just an automation software that integrates with Evernote. So it recognizes that there's a new note and you can scrape them for certain terms. So I could see, okay, there's a company name and it will automatically send it to the folder of this company name, things like this. And this is how I would expect with the setup that you already have in place, that you have your own OCR that you already provide, that you do this upfront before it even send it further to a different platform. Hope and beg you to add this to Zapier integration, because this would just open so many opportunities where I could say, and with this auto tagging, look at Rocketbook and their application. This is, if you could just, that's just blunt, but copy paste what they have in their application on recognition of titles, for example. You just make 2 hashtags in front and 2 hashtags behind. Rocketbook app will recognize this as a title. And this is one of the things. Still, when I scan Raven documents, I always get the standard title with the date and Raven scan. But this would be so smart and I would say easy solution, because you have the technology already in place that you recognize 2 hashtags in front, 2 hashtags behind, and I can just handwrite on this at people and it will recognize where to send it to.
It does. And I could tell you we're currently working on auto naming for documents. So that'll be coming out here very soon. And that'll be an optional feature. But what you're describing is, as you mentioned, is perfectly feasible, right? For us, we have the underlying kind of technologies in place. We just need to implement that in the form of a feature. So that's great feedback, and we'll definitely take that back. And
yeah. happy to follow up with you to work on this, because I won't stop until we have it. It is just such a huge opportunity. I talk about ICOR in the paperless movement, which stands for input, control, output, refine, and we look at the productivity system end to end. And it's a tool agnostic approach, like you have a agnostic approach with Raven that you are to integrate with all the tools. And it would just so perfectly fit into the refine part of ICOR, where I say workflow automation, workflow optimization. You scan in your document and it gets automatically handled. And you just have to set your conventions in place that you write the title this way, or you do these things. And this is the SOP that you created. So this would just easily be integrated in any system if you have something like this, and bring every productivity to the next level that is just not provided elsewhere. So yeah, I expect this will be launched in 2 weeks. And just joking. Just joking.
Even if you said 2 months, we move quick here, Tom, but a bit aggressive.
Yeah, maybe there's an investor out there listening to this and saying, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I want." I'm sure you can be faster. Yeah.
Not
Just
a
joke.
tech investor.
The thing is, what I also like about Raven, that you all want to keep the quality. So looking at you ClickUp, where you just, they throw out so many features and they're just buggy. Usually when you publish something, it's just working. It doesn't matter if it is the hardware or the software. So I appreciate this. And I know there goes a lot of research and thoughts into this. But I hope, hearing that you have all these integrations planned, what you're planning with AI in Raven Cloud as well, and things like this, I'm pumped for the future of Raven there. And yeah, this is just, if you want to get to the next level, not just scanning your documents so it's in the cloud, which so many document scanners can do, you can do already a lot with Raven already, with the more integration that you just offer. And another thing that I showed already in the paperless movement, what people, or that's another thing that people don't realize what you can actually do. Just the feature that you can send your scans via email. You can leverage this in a complete different way. So many, it doesn't matter if it is Asana or whatever, you can send emails to these task management tools and they will create a task out of this email. And once you get this email, you can just add it to the Raven scanner as the destination. And I can send an invoice to this email and it will just create a task inside ClickUp. And the automation inside ClickUp then will assign me that I need to work on this. It will assign a due date 7 days in the future, for example, and it's already there. So I scan and forget. And this is what I want to keep doing with Raven. Every workflow that I set up it's the Raven scanner standing alone in the corner. It sounds like that, but believe me, it's happy there. Yeah. And all the things that you already added, like you don't have to switch it on and wait. It's instantly there when you put in the paper. You just hit scan and it scans it. And all these live quality improvements that you added there already with these automations, there are so many things that you already can do. But when we get Zapier integrations, I go wild. So many ideas. Good. I mean, we talked already about the future, and the last video that I did on YouTube, and there is a lot that I have to follow up on, as you're just too fast with improving stuff and publishing new devices. So I have the new Go device. It's the Raven Go. So that's a desktop device that I can connect to my laptop. And this has no screen. So I can only set it up with my laptop, but also it's a more budget solution.
That's right.
So maybe you can introduce to the people a bit more the new device and what else you have there.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've actually got several devices. So I think we have even more than I've sent to you to get your eyes on, just because, again,
just because I have no time to look at all these. I mean,
that's right. Stop sending.
This will change when ICOR is fully launched.
Yeah, so we've got several. So in the last year, we released the Raven Select standard, and that one is a desktop model that does require the use of a computer, but it has a nice little, like 1.5-inch LCD color display that you can still choose your workflows and initiate scans that correlate to the workflows you've set up on Raven. So that one's in the market today. We are about to launch the Raven Compact that will come in Wi-Fi and USB. This one it's a nice section. I've got one here. It's the only model I would have to. This is a nice little compact size. You can feed in through the front. You can feed into the rear. So if you've got ID cards, and it spits it right back out to the same side you fed it, so you don't have to have desk space in the front and the back. But it's also still got a 20-page PDF. So So this one, that's a nice one. The USB is like $190, maybe about $40 more. I think the Wi-Fi model, I mean, it still scans at 20 pages a minute. So it's, pretty impressive speed for its size. We have the Raven Go, as you mentioned, which is not yet launched. That'll probably launch around April, and that will offer in a simplex and a duplex model. Those are USB, as you mentioned, require the use of a computer, but these are meant to be true portable scanners, right? They can fit in a backpack or in a purse. They're great for on the go, light occasional scanning if you just want to scan receipts, this kind of single page sheet bed scanners. But there's a huge amount of demand from our customers for those, want to be able to take with them when they need them, but keep their
Once they start traveling again, you mean?
exactly. Yes. The demand has come back after the last 2 years. And then the last product that we'll be launching, which I'm particularly excited about just because it's really unique, is going to be called the Pro Max. And so the Raven Pro, is one of our flagship models that we've had since our launch. The Pro Max is going to be your Raven Pro scanner that you know and love today, and then have attached to it on the bottom a flatbed as well. And so you may ask, why would I want a 100-page ADF and a flatbed? But there are a lot of use cases for that when you think about if you have books, bound books that you need to, or you have passports or super delicate or super thick documents that can't go through a reader. Now you've still got a single all-in-one solution. And the technology is pretty cool on this unit because it will automatically detect whether pages in the feeder or whether there's content on the flatbed. And so the interface is identical to what you see today on the Raven Pro. You'll just hit scan and it's going to either initiate a scan on the flatbed or initiate a scan through the ADF based on where paper exists. It's a pretty neat feature. It's a beast because it's got that flatbed.
Yeah,
right,
obviously.
coming
But
out.
I mean, you just said it right there. So many times people ask me also about book scanners, and I don't like these book scanners on the
They're
market that we
inefficient.
have there. So using a flatbed scanner that can adjust to books, this is great. Software-wise, will you also integrate recognition of books and then get rid of the shadows and things like this? Because it's usually an issue that people scan books and it doesn't look that good.
Right. Yeah, you won't get as much of the shadows because of the fact that it's going to be on a flatbed, right? With that flatbed tray that has some kind of height adjustment to it with the white background. So that light reflection kind of eliminates a lot of that shadow. But yes, I mean, it does have the same image processing capabilities that exist on the ADF in terms of edge detection and brightness control and all of that.
That if I have thick books
Yeah.
or a lot of pages, then we have a lot of bending in the text, right? So is it actually correcting the bending of the text when you have it this way?
Yes, there is some image processing. Of course, it depends on how bent that is with each book. But yes, we do have image processing that tries to optimize for that based on the scan images.
That's really interesting. There are so many places where I can see that this is actually useful. And you just mentioned scanning IDs. I mean, now it's ID cards, right? It's no,
Mostly the passports, right?
but still, yeah, but still, the normal scanner is not happy about feeding it with some plastic card.
Yeah, actually, all of
Yeah.
our models. Yeah, and it's a good point. I mean, I think folks often are scared to put like ID cards through our scanners, but all of our models can support ID cards, even credit cards with an embossed like print, right? That has the timbers raised. Those are all rated to go through our units. And so
Okay.
you can do that. I wouldn't do that with a stack just because you could cause a,
Yeah.
but if you do those individually, absolutely. All of our hardware can support scanning really thick documents like ID cards.
Well, this is, yeah, it's just getting better, right? And now, a very important question that I get
Yes.
so many times over the last 3 years. Why don't we have Raven in Germany or the rest of Europe? Why do they only ship from US? Why do I have to pay extra taxes and so on? And we've been have a lot of back and forth about this. And now, is it the time, 2022? What are the plans for launching in Europe?
Yes. A year ago, I told you that I was hopeful 2021 would be the year, and the market impacts with COVID, of course, made that challenging. But I can assure you that 2022 is the year, and it won't be end of year. It's going to be mid-year that we will be launching in the UK. We'll also be launching in Germany, as well as some parts of Latin America. So we've had some time here now to be ready for this. And so we get the benefit of that. It will be available on raven.com as well as on Amazon in those marketplaces and within Latin America, Mercado Libre as well. And so we'll be available for customers to purchase. They won't need to pay for those additional high shipping costs once we do that launch. So I appreciate everybody's patience. We've tried to do our best. We've absorbed some of that shipping cost to try and make it within reach. But I recognize that it's not been ideal. One of the updates you'll see in our products in the next couple of weeks and months is localization. And this is in preparation for the launch so that users can change the language of the interface on the scanners, on Raven Desktop, eventually on Raven Cloud. And so that will allow customers in the German market that are not native English speakers to be able to still use those devices in a user-friendly manner.
Oh, this is awesome. We just have China P. She was saying Latin America. Did you mention it?
I did.
Yeah, you did. So happy.
Yeah.
Good for you. And Mary actually had a question as well.
I saw that.
He was asking speed and feeder capacity, the primary differences between the original and the Pro models. Good question.
It is a good question. Yes, that is the primary difference. So you're getting double the feeder capacity between the original, and you're going from 40 pages a minute scan speed to 60 pages per minute between the original and the Pro. Outside of that, yeah, there really aren't a ton of differences. Same screen size. We've upgraded the original, so now they have the 8-inch screen on both, and really the rest of the feature set is the same.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, if you don't scan a lot, then the original is really good as well. So as long the scan quality is the same, right? So it's just the capacity. That's the difference. So yeah, this is really a great offering, what you added, the stack of devices. I know you changed it over the time as well due to the feedback of the users. And this is what I just to emphasize again. The adjustment of your company to the user requests is just awesome. I just have to say that because you're not just jumping after every request. You also do the right research, but you understand what people are asking for and then go into what has the most impact for the people there. And it's really interesting that these solutions that you provide now, it should be so obvious that this should be already available. So this made me realize how young all this digital age still is. And that's not long ago that we haven't had any internet or anything like that. And yeah, good to have you with us. And saying that, Raven is part of the Paperless Movement community as well. And this also means that we have an exclusive discount for the members. Only for members, they are $35 if you want to go as a member to buy a Raven scanner. Thank you very much for that. Sorry?
$35 off.
Yeah, off. Yeah. No, in addition, as a Paperless Movement, you have the privilege to pay extra $35.
I just want to make sure no one thinks they're getting the Pro for $35. I wish I could.
Yeah, I think you should have a lot of sales at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wanted to say, even the people in Germany I know that who bought it from the US with the extra toll fees and all this, they were all happy. No complaints. And they said even this was worth the money. So I'm sure this will be very successful when you launch in Europe as well. Kimmy is asking, can the dust cover for the Pro be used for the second gen original?
So we have a dust cover specifically for the second gen original. Each of these are designed and made to fit the exact form of those scanners. However, you're not going to hurt the scanner if you use the Pro over that, because the Pro is bigger. It will cover most of it, but we do have a second gen dust cover specifically for the original as well as for the other models.
And then we have, I just want to bring this up here. It has changed our business. No complaints.
That's awesome.
When I saw the capital letters, I already thought big complaints. No, it's actually no complaints, which is good. Awesome. And he just says, but I will buy another one when you're in the UK. Yeah. So you have the first customer already when you launch there. And then Joe, good to know about cards. I have so many safety and ID cards that people ask me for before I arrive to work. It is a pain trying to find a place to scan them every time I replace one or get a new one. And yeah, this is actually interesting for me. I didn't know this. I was scared to do this as well. So is it actually mentioned in the...
It is. Yeah. And we do put it on the website and I think Amazon that it has support. But yeah, I think customers are just generally, they don't want to do ARM, right? Which is expected. But yeah, and I would recommend just the best feeding on those. It's a little counterintuitive, but for the document feeder is to always load those horizontally rather than vertically into the feeder, just so you get the most surface area for the rollers.
Great. Yeah. And one more from Mary. Is there any ETA for the release of the Max model with the flatbed?
Yes, it's on the water, on its way to our warehouses in Houston, and then we'll disperse from there. I think that the likelihood of that will probably be in late March, early April that we'll be able to make that.
Oh, this is awesome because I also thought it's still work in progress, but it's already ready. Okay, good. Well then, Mary, we are excited, right? Yeah, this is awesome. I'm pumped for Raven and what to come and get back to testing all these. I'm happy when I'm back on YouTube as well. And yeah, it's great that it's great that we had you on the show and that so many people joined here from the community. I think we are all excited for you, for Raven, and for what we get in the years to come. Anything you want to share with the community before we close it?
I did see one other question, and I'd love to answer it just really quickly here. Yeah, it was a little bit earlier up here about the Dynamics 365, and if Raven has already handled the
Oh
OCR.
yeah, I bring it in. Do you have any experience with Dynamics 365 if Raven has already handled the OCR? Does that mean I would need to reprocess the...
That's correct. So as long as you have OCR turned on, which most customers do use OCR, then all of your PDF documents will have OCR, that OCR layer embedded on the PDF. So there would be no reason that you would need to reprocess that OCR, assuming that whatever software you're importing that into is able to make use of that. That's all,
Yeah.
of course, on your software. Our PDFs are generated in a way that any software should be able to leverage it. And I would just tell you from a best practice, we'd make this available in Raven Cloud, of course, but regardless, whatever software or cloud service that you choose to use for storing your documents, I would highly encourage you to make sure that it has searchability based on the OCR and that they're indexing that OCR data, because the days of relying on the title of the document or the file name, right, they should be gone, right? Because you really should be able to search for anything that's within that document that you can recall. And the title is just there when you're kind of going through the table view of results, but really you should be able to retrieve that document based on the contents of that document.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is always the reason when people ask, why do you still use Evernote? I mean, it's my document dump, as I always say. I just scan everything in there and then I can search for the document that I need due to the fact that it is OCR'd by Raven, but also by Evernote, and Evernote has a great search. But you could do this in G Drive and Dropbox. I mean, this being said, all these clouds have their own OCR as well. Have you done any comparison that your OCR is better than the cloud service OCRs?
Yeah, well,
It makes sense to use Raven OCR actually, scanning it to these services.
yeah, definitely. The difference, so a couple of things, one, we use AI powered OCR, so it does get better with time. Our OCR also then has the ability to learn handwriting as well as type text, but it also works in every language. So we will be able to support German, right, when we're there. If we enter the France market, right, we'll be able to support French and the Latin American languages. So yes, and I see your question there, and yes, we are working on that. I know there was some feedback. I saw that in our engineering debrief this week.
So for the listeners in the podcast, the question was just to improve OCR of German, or for German. So regarding the umlauts, can be tricky. But what I'm excited about, and it was actually one final question that I had anyway, the handwriting recognition. So you just mentioned it, and this is really awesome because I think so many cloud services lack this feature. As soon you try to convert its handwritten text to normal text, then you're stuck. So this means when I scan my handwritten paper note that I can select the text in the PDF document and copy paste it elsewhere, and it will recognize it as normal.
That's right. And the other thing it allows you to do, right, is to use that for annotation or editing. So we provide a free tool within Raven Cloud that you could use, but maybe you're using Adobe or other Acrobat DC or other programs. And so if you want to have highlights right across characters or words, now those words are recognized. So you're not having to freeform, try to drag the cursor. You're actually selecting and highlighting text. So there's some other benefits beyond the searchability. And one of the other differences too, Tom, on other services is while the services may index the OCR data, whether or not it had OCR to begin with, they generally don't apply that OCR later onto the PDF such that if you were to download it when try to do edits like that or send it, you generally won't have that OCR. They're just indexing it within their cloud for search.
This is awesome. This is really awesome because I published a video on YouTube showing people how they could leverage the Rocketbook app in order to do. I was so surprised when I started the research in this that there are no proper solutions for handwritten paper notes to convert this, just simply convert it into text. And yeah, well, we should talk more often, obviously. We could go on and on with questions and things, and I think we will do this with a follow-up, obviously. But if you have more questions, as this is for the members here, just go into the community, ask questions. Stefan is there person, so he will answer any questions that you have there, or just search for Raven in the community. There's loads of content already available, or reach out to me if you have any further questions. Stefan, it was exciting that you've been on the show again. Bright future there for Raven. I see this already, and I cannot wait to catch up.
Likewise, let's not make it so long for the next one. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed getting to interact with members. So thanks again.
I think this was 100% worth it. I mean, there was so much ground that we had to cover, and each piece is exciting. So it was 100% worth it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Tom, and thank you to the members for listening in and for all the great questions.
Awesome.
All right. Take care.